Recording in progress.
Good evening. I'd like to call the April 16th legislative meeting to order. Everyone please rise for the salute. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, a couple quick announcements. Old Turnpike Road Bridge between addresses 197 and 210 is still closed. Hopefully we can get it finished up in the next month or so, now that the blacktop plants are starting to open. In the meantime, please use alternate routes. Also, I'd like to mention that the spring cleanup is scheduled for May 3rd through May 5th. It's going to be at the South Fallsburg sewer plant from 9 to 5. Also, we're happy to announce that the e-waste program is back. Instead of having to take old TVs, VCRs, and whatnot to the landfill and pay the fee there, you can drop it off. It's going to be starting for the 19th of April, and it's going to be at the back of the highway department at 5854 State Route 42. If you drive to the back area there, we're going to have a trailer that you'll be able to get rid of your e-waste for free. Okay, so we don't have any liaison reports. Do we have any correspondence, Paula?
I do not.
No correspondence. At this point, I'd like to open it up for citizen comments.
David Katz.
Thank you. I wanted to address a piece of legislation that's going through the New York Senate and legislature right now. You may be familiar with it. It's called the Faith-Based Affordable Housing Act. And this piece of legislation proposes to address the shortage of affordable housing in New York State by making it easier for faith-based communities to build high-density housing on property that they own. So I'm going to read just a short excerpt from the law itself. This bill would dramatically accelerate the timeline in which affordable housing on religious property can be built while reducing bureaucratic hurdles. It allows houses of worship to bypass local zoning rules. To do so, as long as they're building affordable housing that complies with reasonable density standards. And for the purpose of this legislation, reasonable density standards are defined as up to 30 to 50 units per acre. The law also says that congregations will be able to bypass full environmental impact assessments required under SECRA in favor of simpler certifications. So personally, and I speak for a number of people in the community who I've discussed this with, in a community like ours, which is already facing such substantial overdevelopment pressure, including self-exemption from regulations in the case of some developers, this kind of legislation were to pass, I think would be catastrophic. And in fact, the Sullivan County Association of Supervisors has recognized the danger of this legislation to communities such as ours, and penned a letter to Governor Hochul outlining the very serious risks and threats to natural resources, our municipal infrastructure, open space, and agricultural lands. I have the text of the letter here. I won't read it in its entirety, but it says things like, this proposed law eviscerates the adherence to the current New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. How do small municipalities like ours provide services to a large high-density development with 50 dwelling units per acre? Services such as water, sewer, fire, ambulance, schools, roads, and transportation, refuse hauling would all need to be upgraded. It would be impossible as well as cost prohibitive for our towns and villages to build the infrastructure required to support this number of new residents. The letter from the supervisors goes on to say, what about the protection of our open spaces? We're not just talking about a few little buildings here. We're talking about a growing population of people changing the nature of our surroundings, including clear cutting of forests, littering, less habitat for indigenous species of plants and animals, impact on agriculture, and huge increases in traffic. So in this letter, they urge the governor to help support existing local zoning laws, rather than allowing rules that override our local zoning laws, such as the one proposed here. So I salute the Association of Supervisors for voicing their opinion, sending a letter to Governor Holcomb. Now, 13 of the supervisors in Sullivan County signed that letter. Mike, I noticed that you haven't signed it yet. So I just want to take this opportunity to ask you your position on this legislation working its way through the legislature through the lens of our town. And whether you support the opposition to this that the Association of Supervisors has articulated. And what we as a town, or whether the town has plans to issue a communication on behalf of the town expressing an opinion on this legislation. So, would you care to comment on where the town leadership sits with respect to this pending legislation, and whether or not there will be an effort to support the Association of Supervisors in opposing it?
This is not a Q&A session. It's not designed to be a back and forth, so I appreciate your comments. I just want to say I'm not a member of the association. With that said, I oppose any kind of overreach, governmental overreach into municipal home rule law, and we set our own laws for our own towns.
Great. So, I appreciate that. I sort of anticipated that membership in the association might have been a question since you're new. So I emailed the president of the association with that question. So here's his response. He said, all 15 supervisors are automatically members of the association and are invited to all meetings. So the door is open.
I did not pay the dues, and nor do I plan on, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, personally, I think it would be nice for our town to have a voice at that body, because they obviously do important things, like, you know, communicate with the governor's office on issues that are important to our county. So I would urge you to join us so that we have a voice there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Anybody else want to speak?
There's nobody.
Yes, there's someone there.
Good afternoon. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak here. I wasn't planning on speaking, but Mr. Katz's concerns were very appreciated. And while the government state should not tell our town what to do, and the dense amount of population what they are proposing sounds outrageous, there is a housing crisis throughout the state. And in all communities, there's a housing crisis. And I would love to ask this board what they're doing to address the housing crisis. Fallsburg has great environmental resources, great future growth that possibly without impacting, there's hundreds and hundreds of empty acres. The town has to be able to grow. Taxes should rise. The town should survive. There should be more businesses. In order for that to happen, the town has to look ahead for 10, 15, 20 years, how we're going to build more housing for year-round, not only for summer. I'm talking about new communities. Orthodox communities, the year-round housing is in a dire crisis. People need to return all year-round. I'm not talking about summer residents. And there's many other minority communities which have huge housing crisis, which this town is a great place for all types of communities to come up and make their home here, call their home here. The town has a lot, still have hundreds and hundreds of acres that's developable, it's not going to impact, roads can be widened, there's a lot of things to do, and while the town is also proposing a new sewer plant, we should look at a fixed problem and give us some extra. We should look at 10, 15, 20 years ahead, we can add another thousands of homes, and this town shouldn't be impacted on a town way when we do it right. We build the roads right, we build the infrastructure right, we make sure there's enough trees, enough land, everyone can enjoy it. Everyone who comes to live here or to vacation here wants the country style. No one wants a city style living here. We all come here because we want that nature. No one wants to disturb that. But keep on saying, we need to stop development. It doesn't work for anyone. It doesn't work for the town. It doesn't work for the people. It doesn't work even for the people who are complaining. They think it works for them, but at the end of the game, everyone's going to suffer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Anyone else want to speak?
I have Pam online. Pam, you can unmute.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
We hear you now.
Okay. First of all, I wanted to wish the board and everybody who works in the town that observes the holiday next week, I wanted to wish you a happy and healthy Pesach, Sameach. I wanted to ask Mike and the board, basically agenda number 10 and 11, if I could get some clarification as to the granting consent to form sewer works for Cabana Sands and Zimmerman Estates. I don't quite understand that.
Pam,
And the second-
Pam, hold on 1 second. They're just asking your full name. It's Pam Wagner.
Oh.
There.
Go ahead.
Okay. That was the first part, which is asking for clarification of agenda number 10 and 11, because I don't quite understand, funding sewer works for Zimmerman and Cabana. And the second part is agenda number 15, Northern Borders Regional Commission. I looked it up and it said that they have grants that can be applied for 500,000 to 250, and I was wondering if we have applied for them for infrastructure and other projects. I know how important OSW rail trail is, but there are other things that need priority in the town, and I was hoping that there were a whole bunch of grants that are being applied for, and especially since Northern Borders Regional Commission is offering them. And those are my statements. I hope everyone is well and healthy, and that you have a lovely 2 weeks off.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak or speak again?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Katz, please rise.
Well, what is your name?
Ari.
All right. In response, just a brief response to Ari's comments, I don't recall saying anything about stopping development. Okay? What I'm talking about is mandates that incentivize developers to circumvent local zoning, density requirements, environmental impact assessments, and so on. Okay? These things exist for a reason. And we have a comprehensive plan in this town for a reason, which is to protect the common good, not just the good of particular developers. Okay? So if we chip away at that by in fact incentivizing developers to circumvent local zoning, then we may as well just, give up. We will be inundated by unregulated development. But it'll now be legalized as unregulated development. So there has to be a balance, And every empty acre is not a development opportunity, It's habitat protection, it's water resource protection, it's a lot of things. So what we're looking for is balance. And this piece of legislation goes way off to the one end out of balance, I believe, to the point of destroying what we've got here. And that's the problem.
Thank you.
So now I have, E. Brutner online.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for listening to my comment. Two things that I want to discuss. I would like to understand, ask the board, I see there is a recently two engineering firms that's supposed to look at the ZBA and the planning board. Is there a reason that this town has two engineering while other towns have one? That's number one that I want to ask. Number two, I think it should be a distinction from new development and people that are already in this town that they need to go to planning and ZBA. It can't be that there's someone that has to build a new development is basically having the same process that someone that is already in the town and they want to add addition, an extension or rebuild their building, or they want to add a structure to a campus. I mean, I think it's unfair burden, and it's very difficult for the people that live there for anything they have to do, especially that they keep on adding all these regulations that no other town has. So I think this board needs to start looking at existing developments or campus or whatever, or residents that are going through the process of the planning board and the ZBA. It should be more swiftly and more efficiently, rather than to give everybody, an application should take for no good reason 8 months, when really it could take a month or two. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak?
Yeah,
Please step up, give us your name.
my name is Moshe Atiyah. I'd like to talk about item number 6 and item number 15 on the agenda. Item number 6, I would like to just point out how hard the building department is working. I'm dealing with them on a daily basis, basically. And I believe that they do deserve this a lot. And I'd like to thank the town for doing this. Item number 15, the rails and trails. I know Mrs. Wagner pointed out something about the rails and trails, that we should put the funds towards something more important. I just wanted to say, as a resident of Mountain, I live across the street from the rails and trails is a lot more than just a trail that you walk down. Rails and trails is representing the history of the whole Sullivan County, something that I think that we should be maintaining a lot, and we should be putting grants towards.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? No? All right, so at this point, I'm going to close public comment, and we're going to move on to agenda items. All right, so the first agenda item has to do with rehiring our seasonal personnel, the folks that didn't work for us last year that are looking to come back. And at the recommendation of the Parks Department head, we'd like these folks rehired. So, motion to approve rehiring of seasonal employees: John Stanton IV, Kirk Irwin, Brandon Ryan Chagan, Philip Kalanick, and Michael McGrath as laborers in the Parks Department, effective 4/1/2024.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next one has to do with, well, looks like we made a hire in DPW for a motorized equipment operator. So this is at the recommendation of our department head. Motion to approve employment Marco Acosta Delgado in the Highway Department as an MEO with Class A license effective 4/1/2024.
Motion.
I
Second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Same thing, a new hire in the DPW as a, the same position. So motion to approve employment of Anthony Lehman in the Highway Department as MEO with Class A license effective 4/15/24.
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all in favor? Aye.
I'm sorry, who was the second? Me. Oh, okay.
Next, motion to approve warrant number 0424 dated 4/10/24 in the amount of $230,840.85.
Motion.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Alright, motion passes. Next, motion to approve warrant number 04824 dated 4/10/24 in the amount of $258,817.04.
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second? All in favor? Aye, motion passes. Next, so this one is not a salary increase, but a stipend for one person in the building department to take on additional duties that were previously done by folks that are no longer with us, as well as some additional workload that comes with it. And this was recommended and requested by the department head. Motion to approve a yearly stipend for Diane De La Quadra, in the building department, of $5,000 for additional duties.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. All right, this one has to do with looks like a legal proceeding, certiorari, I believe, regarding property taxes, and they're requesting, Dylan? Oh, perfect. So, Dylan, would you be able to explain this one for us? Give us some background?
Absolutely. Good evening, board members. So this has to do with an Article 7 proceeding for the year 2022. Article 7 is real property tax certiorari. It has to do with the valuation and property taxes paid on a specific property. This one pertains to Tribeca Estates. We had a court conference about 3 weeks ago, and the judge at that point requested that the parties begin the process of hiring appraisers. So typically, during the negotiation process, and then also if you go to trial, you prove your case with a competent appraisal report. The town's used Michael Dewan and Associates many times. That's who we've typically used for condominium projects over the years that I've represented the town. So we recommend hiring Michael to handle this appraisal. Typically, it's broken out into 2 phases, so the total cost for both phases would be $6,600. However, if this case settles prior to needing the second phase, or if the first phase is sufficient with a preliminary, we would stop there, so it wouldn't cost the full amount, and we'd only go to phase 2 for a trial-ready report. So we've used Michael in the past. He does a very good job. He's thorough, and based on the court order to begin pulling appraisals together, I would recommend approving this resolution.
Thank you. All right, so if that's the case, motion to approve proposal from Michael Dewan Appraisal and Associates to appraise the property known as Tribeca Estates, located on Tribeca Circle, Town of Fallsburg, Sullivan County, New York, for the 2022 assessment year. The fee is not to exceed $6,600 for the combined first and second phases of the appraisal.
Motion.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
All right, thank you.
Motion passes. Next, I believe about a month or so, probably more ago, we passed the motion to put out the bid for some commodities, and we did receive some replies. Actually, for number 8, probably I think it was the only reply, but it was a reasonable rate compared to what we've paid in the past. So, motion to award A1 Lower Bridge non-Wappinger crushed limestone to JKN Trucking Incorporated with a price of $30 per ton.
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. Next one, same thing, this one is for washed stone. I believe we had 3 three folks that submitted a bid. This was the lowest of the three bids, and so the motion here is motion to award New York State DOT first wash stone to Callahan with a price of $28.35 per ton.
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second, all in favor? All right, motion passes. All right, so the next two have to do with granting consent to form a sewer works corporation. Richard, would you want to be able to explain this a little bit more as to why?
One of the conditions that's universally in all of our water and sewer extensions is that whatever infrastructure is required in the project is no additional cost to the town. And it has to be maintained by the developer. In order to maintain and collect sufficient fees and construct, they need either a sewer transportation corporation or a waterworks corporation under the transportation law. Why it's under the transportation law, I don't know, it's been that way for 100 years. However, this is the method that you form a corporation under this statute. Unlike other corporations where you simply file with the Department of State, a sewer works corporation or a waterworks corporation requires the consent of the municipality in which the corporation is to operate. So these two are carrying out some of the conditions necessary for extensions that are all either granted or others. Cabana saying that they may have been, I'm not sure. So it is a condition and it is a requirement and it is necessary for the municipality to consent in order for these entities to be created so that the infrastructure can be built and maintained.
Thank you. I hope that explains some things. All right, so do I have a motion granting consent to form Sewer Works Corporation for Cabana Sands LLC?
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next, motion granting consent to form Sewer Works Corporation for Zimmerman Estates LLC.
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. All right, so next is to approve a 30-day liquor license waiver for Basbusa LLC DBA Basbusa located at 81 Main Street, Unit 1A, Mountaindale, New York. They already have their application in with the state. In order for them to operate in the meantime, we can grant a waiver. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? All right, I guess I don't have a second, so motion dies, right? Or do I make a separate motion to?
No, it just means there's no waiver.
Right,
It
so
means they have to publish for 30 days.
81 Main Street, Unit 1A. So it's it says right here, Basbusa?
Yeah, you did one in February.
Yeah.
They moved out, so the one you approved in February?
No, it's a different-
It was not unit one. It was,
I
it
just
was
would
the
like to
same
know the name of
address,
it.
but it was not unit one. That was the only difference.
This is 81 Main Street, Unit 1A.
The last
Or
one
what,
was
you
the
know,
old
is that-
high voltage, which I'm just curious what business this is. I feel uncomfortable about knowing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to pull it, but there was a slight difference on it because we had discussed it.
It's a transfer of the existing license from F&G Mountaindale LLC.
40,
The owner of the building is Downtown Mountaindale 1 LLC.
You want to move the table?
What they want it?
No, it's fine.
All right, so I have a motion, but I don't have a second.
It's just not granted. It doesn't pass, it's just not granted.
Okay,
So
so,
they need to give their reasons.
all right, so without a second, this motion does not get approved, and let's move on to the next. So number 13, resolution authorize bidding for electrical system components associated with the South Fallsburg wastewater treatment plant update. We need to get the process for getting the electrical done before anything can be done with the upgrade. And this starts the process, the bidding process for us. So do I have a motion to approve the resolution to authorize bidding for electrical system components associated with the South Fallsburg wastewater treatment plant upgrade, number 19 of 2024?
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second? A second, all in favor? All right, motion passes. Next is a resolution authorizing certiorari partial stipulation of settlement with petitioner Vacation Village 75 LLC under index numbers E220-1051, E221-1171, E222-1358, and E2023-1120, giving authority to special counsel to sign and enter into settlement terms. Do I have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, so the next one is essentially the town acting as a signatory for the O&W Rail Trail project to seek grants for the Never Sink crossing. We're not expending any time, money, or any real effort on this. That's coming out of taxpayer funds. The O&W Rail Trail project is going to be applying for all of these with their staff and their time, but they need us to, kind of sign off, allowing them to do it on our behalf. So it's not going to expend any resources that we would otherwise use on something else. And they have experience working with the Northern Borders Regional Commission as the type of grants that they have available for these types of projects. It'll also give us some institutional knowledge to know about other offerings that they have for any future grants that could apply to the town that's not associated with the O&W Rail Trail project. So do I have a motion to approve the resolution to authorize Supervisor Ben Simone to act on behalf of the town of Fallsburg to apply for, accept, and expend grant funds from the Northern Borders Regional Commission regarding the O&W Rail Trail project?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next. This is a big one. All right. Next one.
Before you read that, just for the record, I'm recused on number 16 and resolution 22 of 2024.
Duly noted. Our town attorney is recused from number 16. So number 16, it really has to do with approving a long overdue contract with our police officers. This is something that's been negotiated with for a very long time, spanning multiple boards, and we think we found a agreement that is fair and serves not only our residents but the folks that keep us safe and sound. So, do I have a motion to approve the resolution to approve the memorandum of agreement between the town of Fallsburg and the town of Fallsburg Police Benevolent Associations Incorporated for a period of 1/1/2023 through 12/31/2026?
Motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Congratulations. All right. Number 17, last but not least. So this resolution has to do with amending our water fees pursuant to section 135.13.1. In that section, it discusses the various fees that you have to pay for certain parts that have to be purchased and utilized in order to hook new users up to the system. Problem with those fees is that they are many years old and do not cover the cost that it actually costs to buy today. So in a sense, we are taking a loss by charging our customers those old rates. So what we're seeking to do here is, rather than set new fees every year or having to review the price list every year,
Or more often, we've experienced increased volatility where a price may not be good for a year, maybe good for months, maybe good for days. So it allows a proper allocation where we're actually charging what it's costing
excellent
to
point.
procure the parts.
Excellent point. So it has a couple of purposes. One is that it saves us the time and effort of having to research the fees yearly. It gives us flexibility to change the fees based on market rates, so that if the price fluctuates up, we charge the higher rate. But on the flip side, if the price drops, we charge a lower rate. So it's really designed to work with market prices and not have to saddle either the town or the customer with additional charges that wouldn't pertain. So do I have a motion to approve resolution amending Town of Fallsburg additional water fees pursuant to section 135-13.1?
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have, all in favor? Aye. Are you in favor?
No.
All right. So 3-1. All right. And with that, I believe we have some business and executive session pertaining to current litigation, as well as specific personnel-related matters that deal with specific people. So do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. We don't anticipate any further business after executive session. I want to thank everybody for coming to participate, for your comments, and hope to see you in 3 weeks.
Thank you.
3 weeks.
I know.